size is going to be an arm and leg extension with plate. So what we do here, now obviously for somebody who's severely overweight, all they have to do is come back. They don't need any weight at all, and they can just simply keep their legs on the ground and they can extend their arms out. Okay, if they need a little bit more, they can extend the plate out. Okay, and if they need a little bit more, they can bring their legs up. So how this should be, how most members should be doing this is they're going to extend and crunch, extend and crunch. Now, obviously weight will determine how hard this is. So if you want to, you can go up in weight on this one. The other thing that you can do is you can have them hold it. The static hold is going to be much harder than this because you get a rest when you're in this position. You don't get a rest when you're in this position. The key to this is to keep that back against the bench. If their back is arching, they're going to end up hurting themselves. So if they're lifting it up, if you see, and you can't see, but my back is arching. If you notice, here's it's arching, there it's coming down. I'm going to get a lot more work in my core, and it's going to protect my lower back as well. Next is going to be the slam ball toe touch. So on the slam ball toe touch, what we're doing here, again, this is what we're going to be what we're going to demonstrate here. So this is level 1. Level 2, just pick it up and you just keep going faster until you go to the speed that meets what your needs are. It's going to be explosive step ups. So again, key here, low box. You lessen the stress and lessen the stress on the calves and the knees when you come down off of that and when you're pushing yourself up. So option 1, simply step on and switch at the top, step off. Again, you're switching at the top, full foot goes on. You want a little bit more, you simply go a little bit faster, but keep that chest up. Make sure that chest stays up and it doesn't drop down. Option 3, add that hop. This is where you're going to really drive the heart rate. Again, more explosive. If you need to, they can come up to the bigger box, but I don't recommend it unless they're very tall or they can handle it and it doesn't bother their knees and they just need a little bit more. All right, next is going to be the plank with the alternating reach or the bird dog. So for a new member, for somebody who's overweight and struggles with this, you're going to put them, it's going to be elevated and they can just simply do the plank. Now, if they can alternate their arms. If they really have a little bit more core strength, they can alternate their arms and legs. Okay, so that's going to be the easiest position. And again, we want to demonstrate that. And even if we don't demonstrate it, for those that are taking the class that are out of shape, we want to make sure that we let them know that that is an option for them. Because if we don't show it or let them know it's an option, they're not going to know. All right, so what we have here is the plank. So you're going to be on the plank with an alternating reach. You can be on your hands or you can be on your elbows, either way. Now, if you want a little bit more, you're going to alternate your arms and your legs. So bird dog, just like that. Again, to make it a little bit easier, you just have them go elevated. And remember, on an active recovery, anytime we're doing a core exercise, a specific core exercise, that's an active recovery. We want that heart rate to come down somewhat. Even though we love seeing all that red and all those calories, to really get the most out of these workouts, they can't kill themselves every single round. They turn it into an aerobic workout instead of an anaerobic workout. 60 mountain climbers. Now, the key on this is we put a lot of pressure, or we work our calves quite a bit, building up a lot of scar tissue, a lot of adhesions. We tighten up those calves. What we want to do is we want to loosen them up. So this is an exercise we can get an active stretch in it on top of a cardio workout. So your handles go underneath the armpits. And I would say the shoulder joint because armpit seems nasty. So you don't want to say armpit, you want to say shoulder joint. Here, all they're doing is basically a fast walk. This is what you're demonstrating. But the key here is my heel. You'll notice my heel is going all the way to the ground. It's not staying up. I'm not keeping my heel off the ground. All I'm doing with that is tightening up my calf. That's going to give potentially plantar fasciitis, knee issues, Achilles issues, all that kind of good stuff. I want to make sure that I get a good stretch on that calf. Okay? So if I wanted more of a stretch, I go a little bit further. That's also going to give me a little bit more core work as well. Then I speed it up. But don't have somebody who's 50 pounds overweight come all the way down here and stretch their calves out and really just jam them into the ground because they can end up rupturing that calf muscle. So you start them up a little bit higher, try to get that calf down, then increase the speed, then start lowering them down. Okay, that circuit, slam ball slams, you guys all know how to do this. You follow the ball down. Anybody can get this thing to catch it on the bounce, because all you do is follow it, but try to keep that chest up, drop the hips, drive that butt back so that you're not over your toes like this. You'll see a lot of people do this. That's not what I want to see. I want to see that butt go back. I want them to feel it in the glutes, not in the knees or in the quads. You want a little bit more, you simply speed that up. You want more, obviously you add that hop in there. That one will drive the heart rate through the roof because you're using both your upper and lower body. Next, you're going to have the wheel rollout or the wheel hold. So what you're going to demonstrate, knees against this platform. This particular exercise puts a lot of stress on the lower back if you do not have a strong core, in particular strong abdominals. So you always start them in this position. They come out and back. This is the wheel roll, okay? Now, the key here is we're not doing this. This is not working our core at all, hardly, okay? We're stabilizing ourselves with the roller. This is actually working your core. You will start to feel your core working in here. And you don't have to go full range of motion. Just limit the range of motion to make it easier. Want to make it more challenging? Just take those knees back. The further back you go with the knees, the more challenging this gets. Now, the most challenging, the highest version of this, is going to be a hold. You're going to hold it here for 30 seconds. That is hard. Holding it on the step is harder than holding it down here because a lot of my weight is now being supported by my quads. When I'm up here, I'm elevated to where everything's on my knees. So it actually is harder to hold this on the step. Whereas we always try to make it easier by putting them on the step, but in that situation where they're holding it out, it actually is harder to do it on the step. But again, I have to remind you that you do not want to put somebody with lower back problems, or if they have a hernia, or they feel like they have a hernia, or there's a pain, discomfort when they do something like that, have them do crunches. So the very beginning of this is for somebody who has abdominal issues, put them in a crunch. Do not have them do that. That is a very advanced move, even for the beginners. All right, next, it's gonna be the Bosu burpee. So, Bosu burpee, everybody knows how to do burpee. Come back narrow, up wide, and for the beginner, this is all they need to do. Okay, and if that's too low for them, they can do it on the rack here. They can simply come over here, come out, up wide. Okay, so they've got options here. Just make sure that rack is stable and the weights aren't in a position where they're going to fall off. Now, for most people, it's going to be they come back wide or narrow, come up wide, and then they do a regular burpee. Okay, now, again, if they're slowing down too much, because this is our next option right here, but if that slows them down to the point where they're doing something like this, then just have them do a regular burpee. You know, you need to have the hop. The hop is going to be one of the more advanced options there. But ultimately, for the advance, it's going to be just like this, okay? You're just adding more body parts to it.